Hello there and welcome back to the Game & Muscle YouTube channel, and welcome to virtual reality, of course, in Automobilista 2. Following our previous video, lots of people are like, oh, does it have VR? What will it be like? We know that you're mental about virtual reality, Game & Muscle. Please tell us. So, well, second video, here we go. VR headset, happy times. Now, before we get driving and talking, I am going to say very clearly, very clearly, because some people might not get it, Automobilista 2 is in beta. The game is beta. It is not finished. It's early days. The version 1.0 is not out till the end of next month. And when it comes to RZA titles, they tend to, well, with Automobilista 1's case, they keep developing them. It's not like some other developers and some other titles where they get released and they just, what I call pump and dump, you know, games released and that's it. Automobilista 2 is going to be an ongoing project where it keeps improving, keeps changing, keeps evolving, and RZA listen to what people say on the forums. I would very much think of RZA as like Kunos in that regard. You know, and as a result, these types of games improve over time and change over time. They're not like your traditional AAA console release, if that makes sense. I just wanted to get that out of the way, and I wanted to make it triple clear that this is beta. There's things that are going to change, things that are going to be replaced, even before the actual release and then after release. So that's out of the way. I've got to say, I have to be super clear, guys. We get bombarded with comments, and it makes you, as a YouTuber, it makes you have a little bit of a brain hemorrhage. So I'm trying to reduce the brain hemorrhage in here. Can't go to the hospital because if we do, we'll catch coronavirus. So we've got to be preemptive. Anyway, so in VR, and well, if you're familiar with Project Cars 2, again, this is the Madness engine, which is the same game engine that Project Cars 2 uses. If you're familiar with that, then it's actually very similar in VR performance, though I would say, even in its current beta state, it actually runs a little bit better than Project Cars 2. I think because they're not, I don't think they're using the same tree system that Project Cars 2 uses, and, you know, things have probably been optimised a bit more, or just different graphical fidelity in certain ways, which strangely makes it run faster than Project Cars 2. I've not done any direct benchmarking, and obviously this is it is the beta, so things will likely change. I mean, there's no point in doing like any sort of talks on performance and that kind of thing until the final version. But what I can talk about is that I am running this. Of course, my system is mental. It's a 3900X with a 2080 Ti, so you know, top-end system. But I'm running this on the Oculus Rift S with a with the super sampling, and I've also applied some of the filter options that you've got in the INI files. At the moment, again, this might not be in the final version, but at the moment, you've got all the INI file edit options for the Oculus and OpenVR that you have with Project Cars 2. So if you're familiar with that game engine and setting it up and getting it crisp there, and you've got it happy in that, you should be able to get it happy in this as well. So yeah, I think the biggest takeaway though is that, I mean, I was a huge fan of Project Cars 2 in VR, but I wasn't so much a huge fan of the car handling. I mean, I really enjoyed Project Cars 2. I was getting a lot of stick about this in our previous video. Don't get me wrong, I really enjoyed Project Cars 2. I just don't think the cars, other than specific cars which are set up in a very specific way, I just didn't find the handling really gelled with me. They're just overly snappy in a strange way. Whereas this, the force feedback and the handling is just so much more tame. And it just makes so much more sense, and you then get all the advantages of the Madness graphics engine and the VR. And I mean, it just runs great in VR. The car models here look absolutely fantastic. I mean, this MCR is a vehicle I'm a huge fan of. It's kind of it's got a very similar profile to like a Radical SR3. Although, as I found out at the Autosport show in Birmingham this year, don't go up to the people that build the MCR and make the mistake of calling it a Radical. Whoops. But yeah, no, it handles very similar to a Radical. It's the same sort of ballpark car, and these are the types of cars that are absolutely fantastic for close online racing. While still having something really snappy, really nippy, really nimble, and something you have to be really careful with. But it's got downforce, so it's nice and precise as well at high speed. You can take high speed corners without sliding all over the place, but it still does have a little bit of give. Basically, it's the perfect balance between mechanical and aero grip, in my opinion, for my personal taste of car handling. And, you know, I mean, when you drive this in VR, though, anything that's open top and low down to the ground, you get such a fantastic sense of speed, connection to the vehicle, and with open top cars and Formula cars, you can really see where the edges of the vehicle are, the wheels, or the wheel arches in this case, to really place it on the track nicely. We've actually just set the weather to go from sunny to hazy. If you're wondering why it looks a little bit grey, it's not actually grey, it's just hazy. But you know, the weather effects in the Madness engine, absolutely fantastic in VR. Really help add to the sense of like environment and atmosphere. You know, it just sucks you in. I mean, VR sucks you in, but I really love with this game engine those day-night transitions, the shadows moving across the track, all the subtle things. Well, tripped over myself a bit there. Got to get the throttle timing just right. You know, I mean, look at the distance haze here. I'm not sure how clear it is in VR, but in 2D, but in VR it just looks really nice. It's almost like I can breathe in the humidity that's visually apparent. Now I'm going to try and drive a bit smoother here. I always say this and then end up totally ragging it. This is the YouTuber's curse. Really helps in Automobilista 2. The force feedback is really, really nice and clear, especially that lateral load of the tyres. Something that I think that was a big thing in Automobilista 1 with a lot of the cars. But it is quite different force feedback to what you probably, or to what I'm used to with AC and ACC and Race Room. It's another simulator with its own force feedback and its own handling, you know, so every single sim you kind of have to dial yourself into its force feedback, its handling. But at the same time, I don't find the force feedback and handling in this unnatural. It's still very intuitive and very communicative, that's the main thing for me. Oh my god, we just lifted a wheel up there, gave it too much gas, span up the rear, and almost lost it. Look at this. Look at the little dial in the cockpit. I don't know, we've got like some RPM gauge adjustment dial on top of the actual RPM. Let's look at that closely. Unfortunately, we don't have hand controllers to adjust it. I should really be driving this car with my sequential shifter, just using flappies on the steering wheel and cheating. Any of you that have recorded videos in VR, trying to get audio and trying to get a good quality picture will know how much of a pain it is to record VR footage, especially on a separate PC. So excuse my incorrect shifter use here. Oh dear, computers, guys. Oh, so a really nice thing. Let's try and be pertinent here and useful. Sorry guys, I was just zoning. When I play in VR driving sims, I just zone out. It's really weird. I get really into just the driving. I just totally zone out. It's like a weird Zen thing that happens when I'm playing in VR. But pertinent points for people trying to be useful. A really nice thing with Madness engine when it comes to VR is that, you know, you've got a separate VR launcher, which I hope they keep for the final version, the non-beta version of Automobilista 2, because it means you can set all your graphics settings for the VR version and all your graphics settings for the 2D version, which then makes it a lot easier to jump between the different versions depending on if you are driving on a... Oh, I did start off my microphone off. Depending on if you are driving on a screen or VR headset. No, with a lot of the other sims, I say Assetto, of course, is the only other one where you can... Well, I keep tripping over the car there. Assetto, of course, is the only other one where with Content Manager you can quickly choose profiles. But Madness Engine is probably one of the best engines for... You can load in VR or you can load on the screen and you don't have to do too much fiddling. Every other sim, you're kind of stuck with definitely driving in VR or definitely driving in 2D. Well, that's the end of that. I'm gonna go again, you know, restart the session. I want to keep going. Go. Okay, let's absolutely smash it here. Got to be careful at the start. Whoa, careful at the start. Rear end's a yellow car. It's alright, it's a yellow car, it's fine. Now, I will say, and those of you, again, if you play Project Cars 2 in VR, if you don't run any super sampling, you do notice that in very harsh daylight, like now, the shadows can be a little bit jagged. You can get a little bit of shimmer, like the AA in Madness Engine isn't as good as the AA in say Assetto Corsa when it comes to VR, but because it actually performs so nicely, once you put on super sampling, it actually mitigates that quite a lot. I mean, super sampling is a form of anti-aliasing, really. It's a very costly form. You'll need a fast graphics card, but you've got that. At least you've got that as an option. And I think again, assuming it doesn't change, that's one of the big advantages of Automobilista 2 seeming at this point in time to run faster than Project Cars 2 did. So you'd probably be able to, even with your current hardware, you'd probably be able to run the super sampling a bit high. You know, there's always going to be fiddling to get the absolute most out of it in VR. And we will do some VR guides at a future date. Man, I love this car. I can just sit in this all day in VR. Just, it's a real shame that there's not more MCR, Radical SR3, or Ocella, you know, this sort of low, I guess it's a low-down prototype sort of vehicle in more simulators. I'm really surprised. I mean, there's a... Well, the Radical in iRacing is mental. I don't understand it. But that's kind of me with iRacing. But, yeah, I'm surprised that something like iRacing wouldn't have more cars like this. I mean, given how good the Skip Barber is in iRacing, in terms of popularity and how well it races, specifically because of the nature of a Skip Barber for racing and its drafting, this sort of thing would be amazing. I mean, this is going to be fantastic when multiplayer actually comes out, when they actually find a release of Automobilista 2. This is going to be so good to race. We've got a channel member, Antoine Jacket Potato. I'm going to be battling him in this for sure. This is right up his street, side by side. And the best thing with these types of cars is you can hide a baguette under there, replace the fire extinguisher, hide a baguette there, and throw it at the car next to you when they go past. That's a Reza, hand tracking and baguettes. Forget every other feature. That's what we need, hand tracking and baguettes. Right, let's try not to trip out. There we go. There's a jump. There's like a jump. This isn't Stunt Racer. There's like a big bump there, and that's what's unsettling the car. There we go. Woo! Look at that. We've got the haze coming in, and it's got a bloom from the sun. My headset's lighting up. This is quite nice. Makes up for the appalling British weather. VR headset's the ultimate seasonal affective disorder combating device. Whoa. Right, I'm going to do one final lap here because we're just yabbiting on. Ah, let's not line that up. We have to get the speed off initially there and then hook it up. I mean, at the moment, with this being the beta, there's no access to car setups yet. On the Ryzen forums, if you are involved with the beta of this game, there's a post which details that at what point updates will be coming out. It's basically every week they're going to be doing a new beta version, hopefully, if they keep the schedule. So with that there'll be the setups and other stuff coming into it, which hopefully we'll cover in videos as well. Can really feel the suspension lumping down as we went over that curb. Right, let's... Oh. No, I'm gonna do one more lap. Can't help it. Right, one more. I mean, guys. I mean, if you're bored of the video, you can always turn it off and leave. That's always an option with YouTube videos. I never understood people that complain about YouTube videos. It's like, I mean, okay, complain about anything, I do, but just stop watching. Turn it off, man. You're not paying for it unless you're like a crazy Game of Muscle channel member. You're not paying for it, man. Just turn it off. Okay, here we go. This is the thing with like nice force feedback for me, is it really connects me to the sim. We did that much better than last time. 10 points for myself there. It really connects to the sim, and it really helps me ground me in terms of what I'm doing with my brake and accelerator, and really sort of lets me know what I'm doing and makes it obvious through the feel of the wheel what I did wrong the previous time to not do it again. And I find it's when you've got the depth in the force feedback, I just find it turns the simulator into a joy to drive rather than a sort of rote memorization chore, if that makes sense. I absolutely love the force feedback in Automobilista 1, Live for Speed, Assetto Corsa, new cars in R Factor 2, Race Room. I kind of like the force feedback at times, depends on the car. But yeah, I race in an ACC, I'm not the biggest fan of the force feedback in those, but I'm not allowed to be negative, guys. Get too much backlash. There's too much negativity in the world. Try and be positive. Right. Go crossing the line here, but fantastic. I mean, if I've missed anything out in this and not covered something that you want to know about, hang on, just admire the grass there, guys. Hang on, can I stick my head through the floor to look at the grass? No, I'm not even going to risk that because the mic will fall off. Look at that grass, nicely trimmed. If I've missed anything, let me know in the comments. Let me know what you want me to cover and talk about. But hopefully you found this video useful and enjoyable. If you did, this is how we end the videos. If you did find it useful, click the like button and subscribe. It's like YouTubers just turn into weird parrots. But happy tea drinking and all that lark. Oh man, I can't wait for this to come out of beta and to race it with subscribers. But until the next one, guys, thanks for watching and goodbye, everybody.